What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here. Today we're going to be focusing on starting, stopping, and a little bit of steering, okay? This is day 2, exercise 2 of how to ride a sport bike. I did a motorcycle familiarization, so I went over everything on the sport bike. If you want to check that out, I got a link in the description, and it's going to be the first video in this whole series. This is the second video of the series. We're going to refresh friction zone. We're going to refresh what the front brake does, and then we're going to do a slow straight line. We're also going to do a straight line, a little bit of a weave in between, okay? A little slalom, and then we're going to do an offset weave where we're actually having to swerve back and forth just a little bit under a low speed. So remember, this is day 2, exercise 2 of how to ride a sport bike, because I want you guys to be road ready without instructor, really. Okay guys, remember this is the refresher portion. If you want to skip this, please do so. Timestamps are in the description and the first comment. The thing is, I want you to be ready and prepared for it. So if you're going from that exercise to this one like a week later, you're refreshed. So remember, to mount up, squeeze that front brake, swing the leg over, go ahead and stand it up, straighten the handlebars, and then we're going to go ahead and move the side stand up, and we're ready to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn the bike on. Make sure the engine shutoff switch is good. Make sure everything's good. It looks like I'm in gear. So this is what it looks like when you're out of gear. You're going to be in neutral. And then that's what it looks like when you're in gear right there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in neutral. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze the front brake, squeeze the clutch. And we got somebody driving by. Remember, this is a dead end. This is a great area to do it, but people pulled in here, so it's weird. Anyways, neutral, going to release, release. Now we're kind of sitting here. So now we have to put it in gear and then find that friction zone. Remember, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then squeeze the front brake when you're done, and then squeeze the clutch when you're done too. So what we're going to be doing here is just moving about 5 steps, okay? Or a couple. You don't have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just do a couple, enough to where you feel comfortable. So I just put it in gear. Now I have the clutch pulled in. I have the brake on. I'm going to release the brake. I'm not going to use the throttle. What I'm going to do is release it to about 5, 4, 3. Now 3 is when it's going to start to move. So I can feel it. I'm going to release it just a little more. And this is the friction zone. This is all I'm doing, okay? What I want you to do is keep both hands though, okay? Both hands. Now once you get to this point, squeeze in that clutch, squeeze in the brake, release the brake, keep the clutch squeezed, and just walk back a little bit. Now this is going to help you out when it comes to keeping the handlebars straight. So now that we did that, let's go ahead and do it like I'm supposed to. All right, so both hands on here. Friction zone, let's go ahead and get it there. So about 3. Okay, now that we're going, let's go ahead and look forward. Head and eyes up, chest up, squeeze, squeeze, release the front brake, walk backwards, keeping this squeezed, keep it squeezed, and then get back in position. Let's go ahead and do that, and I'm going to explain every single second of it, okay? So squeeze, 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 everything's squeezed right now. Feet are flat, basically. What I'm going to do is release the front brake, no throttle, so just kind of release the front brake. About 5, 4, 3, okay? Now I'm starting to feel, okay, good, good. Okay, I'm going too far. Squeeze in the clutch, squeeze the front brake, release the front brake, keeping this squeezed. Now walk it backward, okay? Let's do that one more time, and then we're going to get back into this and let's start the actual exercise. So about 5, 4, 3. All right, about 3.5 or 2.5. Here we go. Feel good. Oh, I feel like getting some speed. I'm going to pick my feet up. Nah, I'm just kidding. Let's go ahead and squeeze this. Let's go ahead and squeeze that. Let's go ahead and go back, okay? So now I'm going to get back in position, and then we're going to start the drone up, and we're going to have a ton of fun. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, where can I do this kind of stuff? Where can I go ride and practice? Well, this is a dead-end street, and I want you to understand that you could do it in a dead-end street. It's right here. This is what it looks like. Hey, there's fire trucks way over there. But anyways, this is the dead-end street. You could do this in your neighborhood. Let's say there's houses and driveways right here. If there's an area where you could totally do it without people coming in and out of their driveways, that'd be great. You can also do it in a parking lot. I've done a lot of parking lot practices, but I wanted to do this area because this is something that everybody typically has, okay? So if you're wondering how I set this up, now what I did was actually just put each cone about 8 feet apart. Now how I figured that out is about 4 steps, 4.5 steps equals about 8 feet for me. So I just kind of did 4 steps in between, put it down, and then I just put one over here every other one, and that's for the offset. This is straight line weave. But what we're gonna be doing is just the slow speed. I have diagrams on my website, ddfmcrew.com. So anyways, just like the friction zone, okay, we're gonna put it in gear. We got it in friction zone. Now what I'm doing is letting it get into that friction zone and I'm walking it. Now what I want you to do is get both hands on the handlebars, but once you start getting some speed, you're gonna realize, oh, it's pretty easy to balance and my feet don't wanna touch the ground right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them up and just release it fully. And now I'm just gonna give it a little bit of throttle and I'm coming to the end. Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the brakes. Now, this is what I wanted you guys to understand right here. Okay, right at the end, what do we do? How do I turn around? I don't know how to do my tight turns. I don't know how to do my U-turns yet. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on. I didn't want it to make too much noise. Is right here, I can't turn right because I got a curb, but I got a lot over here on the left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get towards the end, and as soon as I get to the end, after I squeeze the brakes and everything, I'm gonna turn the handlebars completely to the left because I wanna go that way. And all I'm gonna do is just push, okay? It might be tough for you, but you can get it done. Trust me, I do this all the time in class. So once I'm completely 90 degrees from where I was at, okay, so I was right there pointing that way, I'm completely 90 degrees this way. I'm gonna turn the handlebars completely right now, okay? Now watch this is actually pretty cool. So now that I have it completely right, keep it fully locked. I'm gonna keep looking now. I'm gonna look to where I'm going. So this is practice for head vision, and it's also practice for direct steering. We're just using our feet to move. And watch this, we're gonna end up exactly where we were, but facing the other way. It's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna do that again. We're gonna go all the way this way. That drone's gonna die, but that's perfectly fine. So put it in gear, got my hand fully clutched, nothing over here, and I'm gonna slowly release it, okay? And once you get some speed going, you can go ahead and lift your feet up, okay? Maybe give it a little bit of throttle, get a good feel for it. It's a little choppy. But towards the end, what am I gonna do? Squeeze the clutch, squeeze the front brake, press a little bit on the rear brake, and stop. Okay, now I need to turn right instead of left. So turn the handlebars. Now, if you hear this, that means you're squeezing and turning this. So if you're doing it and you're hearing this, you're squeezing, you're squeezing the clutch and you're turning the throttle. Okay, now that I'm perfectly perpendicular, same thing, I'm gonna turn left. Now at any point, all of a sudden this happens, squeeze that front brake as soon as you can and hold still. So now square up, squeeze the clutch, start it back up. What happened was you stalled, you let go of this clutch. All right, so now I'm completely turning left. I'm looking where I want to go. All right, you're starting to notice a little bit of speed turning. It makes it easy. And I'm exactly where I need to go. So we're gonna do it one more time, and then we're gonna start the straight line weave. So once again, you can walk the whole way if you want to, but at some point, I want you to lift those feet up. If today you don't feel comfortable doing that, lifting your feet up, that's fine. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll do it again the next exercise. We're refreshing, okay? The point is to get yourself up there and then move on to the straight line weave. Okay, once again, releasing it out just a little bit. I'm starting to move, I'm walking my legs. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little bit more. I can't walk it this fast. Give it a little bit of gas, pick up my feet. Look straight, head and eyes up, grip the tank with your legs. Get ready to squeeze, brakes, perfect. Turn the handlebars, do a loop, go back the other way. All right, one more time without me talking. I'm just gonna do it, okay? Remember, the goal is to get those feet up. So a little bit of friction zone, gonna give it just a teeny bit of throttle, pick those feet up, look straight, head and eyes up, knees against the tank, arms relaxed. Now squeeze the clutch, squeeze the front brake, press a little bit of the rear brake, stop. Turn, turn, walk. So what we just did was a slow straight line. It was just to get you used to picking your feet up after getting some friction zone and maybe a little bit of throttle, okay? The practice for friction zone was just about a couple feet and then we had to go back. And then we moved on to that straight line where we got the feet up. So now the next evolution of it is we're gonna get those feet up and add a little bit of direct steering, just a teeny bit. Now, if you're having trouble getting those feet up, keep practicing the slow straight line and then move on to this. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is just follow me. Follow me when it comes to this camera right here. Okay, so on the other side, it looks a lot like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the right of the first one, go left of this one, and go right. Okay, so when I'm doing that, I'm turning right. Now I'm gonna direct steer. Okay, direct steering versus counter steering. Direct steer to over here. Now, how am I gonna get that? Because if I'm looking this way, now I gotta look this way, it starts going into some problems. So what I want you to do is look straight at the last cone, turn your hands, just look at the cone. look at the cone. And when you get closer, look at the exit. I put those there for an exit for a reason. Okay, so all we're doing is, once again, straight line, just adding a little bit of this, okay? So you still want to look forward, good vision. You still want to grip the tank with your legs. You still want to have upright seating. And you want to have good friction and throttle control, okay? So if you go too fast on the first one, you're going to go really wide, maybe make the second one, but then all of a sudden go too wide for this one. Oh crap, we're doing it. We're messing up. So speed is a huge factor on this. Make sure you're doing the appropriate speed. If you go too fast, that's fine. Do it again. Turn everything like we just showed you in the slow straight line, everything, okay? So once again, going over, turn, looking this way, turn, looking this way, turn, looking this way, turn, looking this way, okay? Whew, it's a little hot. It's 110 degrees. That's why the drone died. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's start on the other side. So everything we're doing could easily be done just in first gear. If you feel the need to shift, you're already past basically what we're doing here, okay? The goal is just first gear. It's gonna be choppy, but that's fine. That's where the friction and throttle control goes. I want it to be choppy for you. All right, so now we're gonna go right of the first cone, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, okay? And then we're gonna stop, turn around. So once again, get our feet up as quick as possible, get good friction zone, throttle control, and then head and eyes up, look at the last cone, look far ahead, look on the horizon, and just dance with the bike. Remember, our legs are attached to the bike, but our hips aren't, so we could totally have some fun with this, okay? So let's move forward just a little bit, get those feet up as quick as we can, look forward. Don't look at the cones. If you run over the cones, I don't care. So right now, I'm in friction zone about 2.5, and I'm just, every time it bounces like this, that's because I gave it just a little bit of throttle, and that's probably what it's gonna look like for you. So that's perfectly fine. Don't go crazy trying to adjust things. For the first couple times, just remove one variable. So if you had friction zone 2.5 and you're doing a little bit of bounciness here, how about next time do friction zone 2.5 and do less bounciness here? Don't change everything up, okay? So now that we're right here, once again, turn all the way left, look left. Let's go ahead and push. And it might be hard for you, that's fine. You can get somebody to help you, or you can learn your tight turns, okay? So now that we're 90 degrees completely, let's go ahead and turn it, fall the way right. And I'll skip the rest of doing these because I want to just get on with what it is that we need to do, okay? So right now we're gonna get back over here, and now it's the same concept. So now I'm gonna turn right over the first cone, left, right, left, right, left, right, okay? So here we go. Friction zone, feet up as soon as we can, look forward. So I'm about 2.5 friction zone, head and eyes up. Moving the arms, dancing with the bike. Don't be stiff. That's the thing. So don't be stiff. There we go. So now I'm loosening it up. Now I'm loosening it up. All right, let's just go ahead and turn it around. Remember to do your turnarounds like you're supposed to. Now, instead of being so jumpy, I'm going to add a little more speed and get a little dancing into it, okay? And that's perfectly fine. So I want you to dance. So a little bit more speed. Dance with the bike. You see how it bounces every time I turn? That's perfectly fine. When it's gonna bounce like that because we are technically decelerating using turning, and it's just gonna compress a little bit. But remember, just kind of dance with the bike. Just don't go crazy with the throttle and brakes and the clutch, but you can dance with the bike, okay? Let's go ahead and turn it around one more time. You could do this in a parking lot. Each one of these cones is basically one parking space line, okay? 8 feet, 8.5 feet is roughly the width of a parking space. So if you have 8 parking spaces, boom, you got 8 cones right there. You don't have to put cones down. All right, so once again, head and eyes up, chest up, arms a little bit bent, knees against the tank, friction zone, throttle control, get our feet up as soon as we can. The little thing that you want to add to this, and then the offset weave, is a little bit of dancing with the bike, baby, a little dance. All right, let's go ahead and do it. So get a little bit dancing with the bike. Yeah, it's fine to turn it in. It's fine to turn it in. See how, look, I don't even know if I hit a cone or not. I don't care, I'm looking forward, and then I'm gonna go ahead and stop at the end. Did I hit a cone? I don't know. Anyways, now we're gonna turn right and do the whole thing. Tight turns from a stop right there. And then we're gonna do a U-turn. There it is. So I want you to do the straight line weave until you kind of get a handle of it. Some people have trouble with the straight line weave versus the offset weave. The offset weave, you have a little bit more to play with when it comes to movement, but you can kind of mess it up if you give it too much speed. So the problem with straight line weave is too much speed and then too much movement. The problems with the offset weave is too much speed and then not enough movement. So right now, what I want you to learn is the movement. Don't worry about the speed too much. If you screw up and you go too wide on something, just move the cones further and further and further apart. My main concern on this one is that you actually make it within the cones. So make it easy first and then move it in. 8 feet is the parking spaces. That might be too much for you. So do 1.5 parking spaces, or about 12 feet or 16 feet. So 2 parking spaces. Just modulate everything you need to do. So we're going to jump into the offset weave. Like I said, it's just a little bit more movement, okay? More dancing with the bike. Let's go ahead and get into it and have some fun with this. All right, I just moved all the cones. Now here's the thing. I just filmed a full-on offset weave, but I feel like it wasn't good enough for those that have never been on a motorcycle. I think it was really good for those that have done it for a little bit. So we're gonna refilm it, make it easier for you guys, okay? I'm always learning. You guys should learn. I'm learning as a coach, learn as a student, and we're gonna make things work for you, okay? So what I did was from this side, this first one looks pretty wide. That's not a big deal. That's about 4 feet from each other. This one is just a normal from the straight line weave. This one, you see how close it is? So I moved it actually closer. Same thing with that one, a little bit close. So that means if I'm coming from this side and going this way, the last one's gonna be a little bit harder, but not all of them, not all of them. So remember, when you are riding and doing this stuff, head and eyes up. I'm staring at you, the camera right now, or the student, and what's happening is I'm doing friction zone. So I'm about 3, 2.5, 2 in the friction zone scale. I'm gonna give it maybe a little throttle, maybe not, just how I feel. And what I'm doing is gripping the tank, looking forward, and just moving my arms and moving my hips, being like, yeah, baby, dance with the bike, dancing with the bike. That's all I'm doing right here, okay? I'm just dancing with the bike. Now, it might feel like you're going too fast. Well, pull in the clutch a little bit, maybe get a little bit of throttle, match it up. That's what we're practicing on top of a little bit of the movement. Remember, guys, this is starting, stopping, and a little bit of steering. So let's go ahead and get on that side, come this way, and then go that way, and I'm gonna give you some more pointers. All right, we're gonna go ahead and park up over here. And if you notice, it looks really funky monkey, but that's perfectly fine, okay? So just like the straight line weave, go right, go left, go right, go left, go. I think I got it backwards, but anyways, you get it. Friction zone, head and eyes up, go left, go right. I'm looking straight. Okay, I'm just dancing with the bike. Okay, now I gotta go wide. Oh crap, now I gotta go wide again. That's perfectly fine. Now I'm gonna come over here and slow down, pull in the clutch, pull on the brake, in gear. Now I'm gonna turn left, turn right, and come back around. Now, if you notice, it was kind of like, That's because all I did was use friction zone, and then every time it was I gave it a little bit of throttle. So one thing I can do to smooth it out, because that's the goal, smooth, is more practice. Honestly, guys, don't feel like you screwed up, like you're doing it wrong. It's just gonna take a little bit more practice. And if your goal is smoothness, you're gonna figure out what it is you need to do. Now, a little jump start on that. The reason why, like I said, it's jumping is because I'm letting out too much clutch and I'm giving it too much throttle. So one thing you can do is give it a little bit of rear brake, and it's gonna make it to where it's gonna be a little bit smoother. Remember, guys, practice, practice, practice. Keep doing this till you feel comfortable, then move on to the next exercise. The one thing I don't want you to feel is that you're consistently failing and you're like, screw this, I need to take a class. But honestly, at any point, if you feel like, oh man, I just need to take a class, this is just way too much, then please do so. But don't give up on yourself. There's quite a bit that you can learn and do on your own. And I honestly did all of this on my own, and then I took a class about 5-7 years into riding. I learned a ton in the beginner class, but the thing is, I still learned how to ride on my own. So you could do it if I could do it. But if you're having trouble, please take a class in person with somebody, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go left of this cone, go right, left, right, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the rear brake, and that's why I'm facing this way, so you can see the brake light go on. So I'm at here, there's the rear brake. So look at the next cone, which is gonna be way over there. So look forward. So you see how I'm like, oh, I hit that cone, but you see how I'm going slow? I'm dragging that rear brake and I'm doing direct steering with friction zone. But you see, look how slow I'm going. Okay, that's a lot of the rear brake. It's gonna smooth and slow you down quite a bit. And that's a huge tip when it comes to slow speed, especially for sport bikes. For cruisers, I feel like the long rake and how long the bike is, it's more stable. With this bike, I feel like it wants to turn in way too quick, and at slow speeds, I gotta give it some brake pressure. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is the same thing, but now you're gonna see it from this point of view. You're gonna notice how it doesn't bounce so much because I'm being smooth, and all I'm doing is giving it just a teeny bit. I'm not trying to stop with this. I'm just kind of like, you know, like if the dog is pulling me on a leash and I'm just kind of, you know, going slower than him, but it's kind of slowing him down. That's kind of what we're doing here, okay? So I'm gonna go right of this cone, left, right, okay? Now, if you have any troubles with this and you're like, man, I think I shouldn't be doing this, go back to the straight line weave and then come back to this, okay? So here we go. Head and eyes up, looking for the cone after this cone and dragging that rear brake. You notice how slow I'm going? Okay, guys, the goal is to be as slow as possible. Now, these first cones are easy. Now I got this next one coming up, and I'm just gonna stare at you. I'm gonna stare at you, and I'm using my peripheral to look at the cones and where I need to go. I'm just gonna keep staring at you. I'm just gonna keep staring at you, and I'm gonna go ahead and slow down and stop. Now, you notice how easy that was, and all I did was add a little bit of brake. That's it. I still kept it at 2.5, maybe 3 for friction zone. I still gave it just a little bit of throttle here and there. But the main thing that I did was just add some rear brake, keeping my knees in, chest and eyes up, looking where I want to go, and just kind of dancing with the bike. Okay, the less you think about it, the better you're going to be. Just like dancing, okay? You're trying to think about the next, you know, the beat that's coming out. You're trying to follow the beat, but now you're behind the beat. You're not feeling the music. Same thing. I suck at dancing. Don't worry. The thing is, with the motorcycle, you're able to go with the beat and you're in charge. You're leading the bike. You're leading everything, okay? If you don't know how to dance, you don't understand the whole rhythmic thing with the beat. Now, basically what it is keeping your lower half kind of still. Your hips are moving, but then your upper body's also moving, okay? So let's do it one more time. All right, once again, start off on the right, slow speed, give it a little bit of friction zone, a little bit of throttle, drag that rear brake. Look at the last cone, head and eyes up. Here we go. Now remember, lean in with the bike. Lean in, lean in, lean in, and then lean in again. Squeeze, squeeze, okay? That's all you have to do, guys. It might sound like it's way easy when I do it. The thing is, you have to constantly practice, okay? I set this all up. I do this all the time, but don't be discouraged if you're having trouble. Go back to motorcycle familiarization. Go back to the beginning of this exercise. Once you get confident with this video, this exercise, move on to the next thing, okay, guys? But with that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, win this bike because we're giving this away. Click the link in the description. I'll be seeing you around.